Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Montreal.
Thanks. I wish you could see our setup right now. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. We're at a bar. At a bar.
Good vibes.
It's crazy. All right, let's rock and roll.
All right, so this is Morgan. She was and is my weight loss mentor. I found her on TikTok.
She hated me first, though.
No, I never hated you. I just had a moment of following you, a moment of unfollowing you, and a moment of following you again.
That's fair. I do that.
It
with
was
people.
never hate. It was frustration with my own journey and not wanting to be exposed to the reminder that I was failing at losing my weight.
That's what I do. I just remind people that they're failures and they
No.
fucking suck and they're fat. That's what I do.
No, I lost 25 pounds last year thanks to her and the community.
I didn't do shit. She did it. I didn't do anything.
But she really, really helped with the mindset piece, which is the mindset piece, the accountability piece, and the community piece.
The shit that people don't realize they need.
Critical things for weight loss, especially when you've been struggling with it for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest. So many people think that it's literally just calories and workouts. And like, yeah, that shit's important, obviously, but like, those are the things you don't actually like. You think consistency is your problem, right? Like you're like, why can't I stay consistent? I just can't. When it's actually the fact that like nobody's like watching you or nobody like knows that these are even your goals to begin with. You know, like that made the biggest difference when I started posting. Not that you're supposed to wait for 80,000 people to see every single day, but when I did that, like it changed everything as far as accountability. You know, I had to show up. I had to, people were like waiting to see what the next number was going to be. You know, so that's what stopped me so many times. That's what stopped me so many nights from like ordering takeout if I knew I had to post my weight the next day for 80,000 people to see. You know, or like our step up, like you can't. How can you not get your 10K steps in if like everybody knows about it? You know.
Exactly. So that's what helped me lose the 45 pounds.
Let's talk about like mental health combined with weight loss. Like, how do you think it like the two correlate?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it correlates in two directions. So when your mental health is shit, you gain weight.
Which do you think comes first? It's like the chicken or the egg.
I had this talk with Ryan actually on the first podcast.
I love that.
I think the mental health being shit comes first. But yeah, I think the mental health being shit comes first, and then you don't care about yourself, or you don't love yourself, or you don't take care of yourself, and so the weight comes on. But yeah, there's no right or wrong direction, because also you could, and if we look at the reverse, you could get your mental health in order and then feel good and then lose the weight, or you could lose the weight first and that makes you feel good, right, and then you go deal with other mental health stuff. So it could go both ways.
For sure.
But I don't think that if you're very well mentally and you're thriving mentally, you gain a bunch of weight.
I mean, the weight gain can be for a number of different reasons. Some people gain the weight just because they're fucking bored, you know? Like, that was a big part of my journey. It was like, I literally gained 80 pounds in a relationship because, I think it all stems from a level of mental health, I guess. Like, it all stems from, I conformed to all of his, like, bad habits, which were completely my doing. It's not like he was controlling or anything like that. Like, I just completely changed my whole, like, lifestyle. I wasn't serving tables anymore and like that active, you know, and then literally sitting in like an office job and dating somebody who was obsessed with food and alcohol and like literally this man used to say he didn't like water. I said, bro, like you're not going to survive if you don't drink water. Like he literally used to wake up in the middle of the night, like thinking he was dying, like he coughing. And like, bro, you weren't breathing. Like you were not fucking breathing. Like, and so it was dating somebody like that who then like I got too comfortable with, but then was also on the other end was like, he's the best I can get because I had gained the weight. So it's like a catch-22. I think it's a combination of both for sure. And I think losing weight helps. It doesn't fix your mental health. I'm not going to say it completely like changes everything, but the way that it correlates to confidence, because like depending on what mental health struggle we're talking about, like confidence is literally, like I say all the time, it's just doing what you said you're going to do. So the more that you do that in a deficit or steps or whatever, you train yourself to believe that you're more confident and that you do what you said you're going to do, which in turn would help with whatever mental health battle that you're
right.
battling.
I mean, it definitely helped me
You know?
for sure. I think, like, I guess phase one of my mental health was stabilization to feel good enough to then be like, okay, I care about my physical health. I want to lose weight. So this was kind of like phase two of my mental health, working on confidence, working on rebuilding trust with myself, working on doing what I said I was going to do, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think so many people think it's this big, like, massive, like, I have to do all of this stuff all at once, but it literally starts with just like one day proving to yourself that like you did what you said you're gonna do. It's not a week like goal or a month goal or like a year long, like I have to like set this full plan and finish it. It's literally just today.
You don't have to answer this if you're not comfortable.
I would love to.
Do you, because you talk about your ex, like the story of him cheating and you finding out he was cheating, etc. Does he know that you talked about this? Has he ever like?
I don't know. I don't know if he does. Listen to this shit. So I didn't even know. So,
but clearly you don't give a shit.
I don't go. Fine. So I don't know that he does. So when we split, like, you know, when you split up with somebody, you like, sometimes there's a lot of like, okay, we're broken up, we're not, we're back and forth, you hook up, whatever. Him and I broke up and we broke up. Like, okay, that was it. That's what I think we both knew that like we really weren't about each other. Like it was literally like broke up, broke the lease, or I left and like that was it. We didn't hear. The only time was like 2 months later, he texted me and said, or his grandpa was dying or something, and he told me his grandpa was dying, and he was like, I wanted you to find out from me instead of the internet or from social media. And I was like, all right, cool, sorry, whatever. That was it. Like there was no communication. We were both just like done. And one of the things that like, not honestly, kind of hope she sees this, but like she probably won't because I can get blocked here. But anyways, one of the biggest things that really hurt me was like his parents afterwards had no, like I was in Dallas by myself. Like I had no help. I had nothing. Like I literally was like living after I left him. I lived on like a couple friends like in different rooms because I didn't want like to leave. I loved Dallas so much, so I didn't want to commit to like leaving. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and it was like that weird, like I told you yesterday, that weird like, oh, if I leave, I let him win kind of thing, like in my head. And so it was probably like 3 months where I had a friend that I was staying with for a little while, and like I was just trying to decide what I wanted to do. Like I had no idea. But his parents, like, they knew I was alone. They knew I had, and never once contacted me. Can I help you do anything? Like literally nothing. And so, anyways, long story short, when I really started like sharing this, like a couple years later, I started sharing it in my stories, like with a literal photo of him.
Oh no way! Exposing
like a photo of him.
No,
like, it wasn't any bad. Like I wasn't bashing him. I wasn't saying, if anything, I'm pretty sure I could find the story still. I was literally saying like, I was just telling the story. I wasn't saying he was like a bad person. If anything, I think I was saying like I wished him well, and like he actually helped me get away from that shit. And his mom, I didn't even know his mom was following me on Instagram this whole time. I could pull up the fucking message. It was literally basically like something about basically telling me to stop. Basically saying like, what if his wife and his kids see this one day? Like this whole, God, I wish I think I blocked her. I would find it. Basically saying they were the perfect example of a family that like always would like, everything's nice, everything's perfect. Let's not, like, when they first found out that he was cheating on me, she messaged me and like said something like, if I could get that boy right now, I would whoop him, LOL, or something, like joking about
making light of the situation.
And that's how they always were, just this very like, let everything look pretty and like nice kind of feeling. I don't know, like we're gonna hash this shit out, like we're gonna get this shit right. And so yeah, she messaged me. I think it was only a couple years ago. It was before any business, it was before any TikTok, and she literally was like, basically like, please stop sharing this story. I know you think it's yours to tell, but like, oh, and I mentioned that like in the story like series, I mentioned something about how like the first night that I found out that he was cheating on me, I still had sex with him that night. And that's happening normal. Who the fuck am I gonna not fucking say that word? And she literally mentions like in the message she sent me, like, that was private information between you guys, like your sex life shouldn't be talked about on the Instagram. Just this like fake bullshit. And I literally responded and I was like, I don't even know what I said. Something about like, if you want to pretend that like the shit didn't happen, like go for it. Like, but this is, I'm telling the truth. Like, I'm not. if he wants to pretend this life didn't happen, like go for it. But like, or I was like, respectfully, you should probably unfollow me if you don't want like the fucking truth. It's not like I was bashing this man. Like I said, if he walked in this bar right now, I'd shake his hand and say thank you. Like when we stopped talking, we fucking stopped talking. But like his mom followed me up until a couple of years ago.
I mean, people stalk their exes.
Yeah.
So he very possibly.
I don't think he cared. I think so this is a whole other like relationship conversation, but I think that what I remember about being with him, and it was honestly only like 18 months together. Like we really weren't together that long. It moved really fast, and like we lived together really quickly.
That's a long time.
I mean, I guess it was my first ever relationship where I was like, wait, this might be a thing. This could actually be a thing. And I thought he felt the same way, but he gave me the vibes of like I never felt that like he really cared that he was with me. I felt that he was ready to settle down. Like no matter like sometimes if a guy takes you to dinner, he'll take you to your favorite restaurant because you love that restaurant. Like for our anniversary, I was borderline vegetarian. He took me to a that restaurant where you flip over the card. I don't know if I'll have that here. Where you like flip over the card. It's like yellow and green and red. If you want more of like a meat.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Regardless, I don't eat meat like hardly, and that's where he like took me. And then I just always felt that way. That he was like he loved being with somebody. I just never really cared that even like during sex and everything. I just felt like he wanted to be with somebody. He just didn't necessarily care that it was me. I don't know. But anyways, I learned so much through all of that. I learned, if anything, like on the good side, I learned that like I used to be the type of woman that literally would be like, I'm not gonna cook for a man, I'm not gonna clean for a man, like just out of fear like independence and like if anything I learned from home that like it's okay to like do that kind of stuff. I just went too far in that direction. Yeah. Because I didn't want to focus on my own weight gain. Right. I wanted to, it was so much easier to like cook for him and clean for him than care about myself.
Well, back to mental health. You were saying like, no, I was in a good mental health place. And then you kind of backpedaled a little bit and started to realize like it wasn't anything dramatic, but still maybe there was some part.
For sure. And I thought that's why I teach weight loss and as so vital the way that I do, because it's literally not a number on the scale. If I wouldn't have gained 80, 60, 70, whatever with him, I probably would have broken up with him way before. I would have never been with him, you know? And so like you get so like diluted in your head of like your reality, I feel like, because like I was only with him because I thought I loved him, but I only loved him because he was like the best part of my life at that time. Yeah. When I hated the rest of my life.
So relatable.
You know? Yeah. Right? Like you think you're in love with this person, but like it was only because I hated my job at the time and it was making no money. I was fat as hell. Like I was just miserable. And so it was like he used to ask me all the time, like, are you okay? Are you good? And I'm like, yeah, like we're good, like we're fine. But it was really because I thought we were good, but I actually would have never been like if I wouldn't have felt
yeah. So, and what changed when you lost the 80 pounds?
You mean dating?
No, with just how you feel about yourself.
There's
dating too.
There's so much more worthiness. Like you just, at that time when I weighed 80 pounds, when I was 80 pounds heavier, there was this worthiness around like, he's the best I can get, you know? Because I remember the feeling when I found out he was cheating on me. We literally were in a car driving 9 hours and I found out about halfway in the car. And I remember the feeling of like, I wasn't even mad. I more remember the emotion of scared. I was about to lose him. Yeah. Which is it's fucking insane because now, like if that were to happen to me now, I'd kick him out of the car, of course. Like, and so now it's like thinking back then, it was just like pure like fear that I was about to be on my own and I wasn't gonna be able to find anybody else, which is like in fucking insane. Like I said, if like that were to happen to me now, like I don't know. I think it's just a level of worthiness. Like you just feel that you are worthy of so much more because you've proven to yourself that you deserve.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
I don't know.
I can relate to some of the things you're saying, not necessarily from the weight loss perspective, but from the mental health perspective. Because when I was in a really bad relationship, it was after that I had gotten my bipolar diagnosis, and that person accepted me with my bipolar diagnosis and saw me at my lowest and still loved me. And so I similarly felt like, well, this is as good as it's going to get. Like, I'm not going to find somebody who's going to accept me at my lowest or accept my diagnosis. So I should put up with a lot of the crap that he put me through.
Yeah. It's acceptance because you are not, it's such a work thing because like you understand it now, but like back then it's like, you think not just that that's as good as you're going to get, but that you don't This isn't any better,
Right.
you know, because it's something in you that like you don't like, and you don't. It goes back to the same saying of how I always talk about like fuck the body positivity movement, and how much I hate that shit because it's all about like, in my opinion, like settling or accepting yourself just the way that you are, in like with the avoidance of actually putting in the work. And so when my ex would be like, "You're beautiful the way that you are," I'd be like, "Well, fuck, I don't like myself in the way that I am, but he does,
Right?
And I don't even like this about me, but he does.
Yeah.
So I should. That's what I should stay with that. I'm lucky."
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm lucky.
It's so interesting, dude.
Exactly.
So interesting. But yeah, it's just crazy because like looking back, like if I wouldn't have gained that weight, like it wouldn't have never made sense to begin with. Like that's not somebody I would have ever stuck
Right.
with, like to begin with. Crazy.
Yeah. And I think if I wouldn't have had a bipolar diagnosis and gone through like the tragedy of finding that out and learning about it, I also wouldn't have accepted that.
Right.
Like I always say, like that was my most recent relationship, but it was my worst one. I actually, like, usually you improve as you go, you learn from your mistakes.
Not always.
Well, I guess I had that imagination in my head, but for me, it was like I had some pretty good, healthy relationships early on in my life. I wasn't like on a track to end up in a really shitty, abusive relationship.
Right.
But somehow, because it followed that diagnosis and the state that I was in when I met him,
right,
it set the tone for what I put up with. 100%. I never would have put up with that
and
shit.
It's not even just that you had the diagnosis; it's that the way that your brain handled the diagnosis. If that would have been a year or two later, where you could have like had time to like come to terms with it or accept it better about yourself and not taking it maybe as like a problem with your like it's a like it's a problem that you have rather than just like this is who I am.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, it took what, 6 years, I think?
Right, exactly.
We're 6 years later and I'm only now starting to be like, hey, this is part of who I am, and you know, I can say it out loud.
Right.
Like, it was Did you ever have, well, I guess not. You put it all online. I was gonna say, did you ever have like shame about the past version of you that was really overweight? And like exposing her online or sharing her online?
I'm gonna say if anything, I think it was shame around my specific situation of constantly starting over. That was my thing. That was my like niche with weight loss, I guess, which is not that niche because a lot of people deal with that same shit. But the shame around, I probably had 85 day ones. Like I was the queen of it, so there was so much shame around like the next day one, the next day one, the next day one, and I think for whatever reason clicked in my brain that final day where I was like, you know what, like if I expose myself to the entire world, then I'll have no choice but to like continue. You know, I think like I was saying earlier, if there was any shame or like guilt or just like lack of confidence was starting like influencing and building a business where I wasn't 100% at where I thought I should be, and I had such a like imposter syndrome around like, wait, I've only lost like 65 pounds. I can't teach people weight loss.
That's
I can't.
Of course you can.
Exactly, but like I literally remember thinking that. Like I was just like, well, I can't. I don't know. Like I'm not far enough along in my journey, you know. But like if you've gotten through fucking anything in life, you can help somebody else overcome. Like you only have to be a couple steps ahead of somebody else to help them, you know. Like, and it's I don't know. It's just insane that like that's probably the only like I guess shame around it. I've always looked at things much more transparently. Like I've always been very like such a believer in that like we go through things in life. You will not help anybody by pretending like it's perfect. And that's why I think social media pisses me off so bad sometimes in this like influencer era that we're in because everything looks perfect online. And I think that's why I love TikTok so much because it normalized like the average person just to be able to like get online.
Yes.
You know, whereas like Instagram was very like seems like it always had to be perfect. Thing. But
it's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
probably why I love TikTok so much.
It's just so casual, and I think you can help so many people by just telling your story. Like it's even if it's not the exact same story, you know, like we were talking about earlier, maybe somebody didn't have a literal bipolar diagnosis, but maybe they had some mental health diagnosis, even if it's like an eating disorder diagnosis. They saw if you start talking about it, they'll see that she went through this, she got through this. Maybe I can too, you know. And so that's why I'm so passionate about it. I think we go through things in life to get through them, hit rock bottom, and learn how to get through it to help others do it. You know,
agree. Oh, wow. So Morgan was saying she has been pushing me this whole time to tell my story. But because I'm a therapist, I keep like having this, which I'm overcoming now, like, but this mental blockage that I can't share my story because that's how we're trained as therapists, that we're not supposed to self disclose, and we're supposed to create a safe container where the client, it's like the one relationship in life where you don't have to care about the other person when you're a therapist client. Like you're not supposed to care about your therapist. You're not supposed to know what's going on with them so that you then are put in a position where you have to worry about them or anything like that, because that protects the therapeutic space. It's a space really just for you and nothing else. So we're taught not to talk about ourselves. And when we do self disclose, it should be for therapeutic purpose. There has to be like a reason why we're self disclosing. Of course, we can say little things like, yes, I'm married, or yes, I have a dog too, or yes, I'm going on vacation, or whatever. But when it comes to deeper things, we're supposed to be very mindful of how, and so it's a different way of helping people.
I get it from the legalities of it, but like if I'm going to somebody, if I struggle with an eating disorder, I want to go to somebody who also has gone through an eating disorder and completely can understand where I'm at. And that's why I've been so successful teaching weight loss the way that I do. If I'm such an advocate for like, if you've never lost weight, don't fucking teach it. Don't try to. You can understand the science of it. And so it's the same. That's why it pisses me off with like.
But they do it now. Like some therapists out there will say, okay, I have ADHD and I treat ADHD, or I have autism and I treat autism.
Right.
But I haven't heard that with bipolar disorder. That is not something I've heard of because of the perception. Like autism and ADHD is acceptable. It's a taboo. There are some judgments, but it's not the same level in my perception of how people. And maybe it's my own shit. Maybe it's because of how I perceived people with bipolar disorder before my diagnosis.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that everybody else does. But no, I think a lot of people perceive bipolar disorder as crazy, like really unstable, not able to be a therapist. Like, and I actually think that sometimes when you do those questionnaires, when you're getting licensed, I think they do ask you, do you have like a mental illness that could prevent you from fulfilling your functions or whatever? Like it's part of whether you're fit to practice or not.
I get it. Like I said, I understand the legalities behind it. I just think
it's dumb.
As humans, you don't. And I guess I understand from a legal perspective or a authority perspective because they may see you as more of just like a friend that you're like talking to rather than seeking you for advice or like authority, you know. But that's why I teach, like when I teach business coaching like this, I teach it from a level of, there's a level of relatability. There's a level of me posting my weight every single day and showing you guys that I'm also doing it too, or I get it. But then there's also videos where I talk about the fact that like, this is what you should be doing and just coaching, you know? And so that's why I teach, I guess, business like this. But I just think from a human perspective, like standpoint, you build more trust by showing that you understand what they've gone through, you know?
I agree. And I think that's why, first of all, I've been bursting at the seams as a therapist, feeling really restricted and feeling like I want to share my story. I know there's power in sharing my story, but I can't.
Right.
And now I'm at the point where I don't care anymore because it's too much. Like it's really like something, a stronger force that's greater than me. That's like, you have to tell your story. You just have to. Like you can't continue living like this. And I will figure out what my role as a therapist is accordingly as an afterthought, because I have to do this.
I think what you're feeling, like the busting at the seams, I feel like everybody has some version of something that they've kept in, whether it's out of shame, out of embarrassment, out of whatever, out of maybe friends and family not wanting to like embarrass friends and family. I think from like a career perspective aside, social media aside, I think we all have something. And like what I'm thinking of right now is I've shared a little bit about this situation with my dad leaving and like the affairs and business stuff, but I haven't gotten into the nitty gritty like I have with weight loss for the most part. But also with weight loss, I didn't start off talking about my ex cheating on me. You know, that's not where like it got to that, you know, over time. And I got much more of like the nitty gritty details. I didn't used to say that like me and my ex wouldn't have sex for like a month because I was so uncomfortable. Like I didn't start, now I'll talk about it, but like back then I wouldn't get that. But anyways, I think everybody has this like deep rooted some version of a story that they're like you said, like bursting at the seams to like share, whether that's out of like just feeling like I don't know, just feeling maybe to help others, but feeling like it's they've been hiding for so long, or like and it's even worse when you feel like you're helping somebody else hide. Like you might not be disclosing it because you don't want somebody else to be perceived in a certain way where like it doesn't matter. But like we were talking earlier, how my ex's family, they wanted everything to just look nice all the time, and everybody likes to sit in that space, and that's not real life, in my opinion. So.
And you know what? At the end of the day, like I'm gonna correlate that with therapy. Why does therapy work? Because we go to a space where we can face our shame, face our fears, and be witnessed and be seen and have our story be heard. That's why it's so healing.
Right.
Because there's a receptacle to everything that we're saying and we're sharing. So whether it's with a therapist or for myself or you or whoever, it's so healing to be able to tell your story, and then other people get inspired, which is an after effect of it. It's not like why you do it, but
there's also a sense of I don't know if the word is necessarily, but there's a sense of feeling like seen. Like I was telling you, my friend that I met like 4 years ago, who I bartend with, and I have a very like specific story about my my dad. If I ever tell somebody like back then before he died, if I were to ever say like, yeah, I don't know if my dad's dead or alive, people don't know how to respond to that.
Right.
They're like, okay, like they don't. It's weird. It's like almost like movie type shit. And so like I wouldn't say it for so long, and there was always this like kind of judgment, but also I didn't want to make other people feel like uncomfortable. Yeah. And so the date him and I sat down in that bar, and he literally said, the bartender, I told you this yesterday, the bartender was like, yeah, I don't have daddy issues, and he goes, what's that like? And I was like, wait, you too? And he was like, yeah, I don't know if my dad's dead or alive, and I was like, me too. And so there's such a sense of like, I always say, I think God put him in my life to normalize what I went through, which I would never wish that on anybody else. But like, I think for so long, I thought, and me and my mom and my sister talked about it all the time, that we were so like, we just felt so like weird. Our situation was so fucking weird and odd. And like, in the day that he said that, the day that I met him, I think he was put in my life to normalize. Not that that's normal. You should know if your dad's dead or alive.
But you're not alone in this.
Yes, exactly. So
there's somebody else who knows what that feels like.
And it was the severity of. I've never met anybody else still to this day, but like that's the importance of telling your story and saying, because he could have very well been like, yeah, I have daddy issues, and just stop there and not have said, I don't know if he's dead or alive, and we may never have even gotten to that point, you know. But like, because he said that, I was able to like, I don't know, it was such a healing moment, and him and I talk about it all the time, that like it was for me it was such a game changer in my whole perspective of my whole story with my dad. So anyways, to wrap that up, like I said, it's the importance of just showing other people that they're seen, I guess, and normalizing weird ass shit that we go through.
So I guess that's what's going on right now. It's like I've been wrestling with this for long enough that for now I'm just keeping like two parallel universes. The universe of me as a therapist who shows up with my clients and still keeps the boundaries.
Yeah.
And the universe that I feel like I have to give space for, where I can start recording my podcast, be more authentic, tell my story, to have other people come on and tell their story, and normalize that, because it's super powerful.
Yeah, I think if the world was just more real, like everything would be such a better place. Like if we, instead of walking through life like trying to make our lives look like everything's great, like when I was 30K in credit card debt, I didn't fucking tell anybody that. Are you kidding me? Like there's such a if I would have, there's millions of people that would have felt more normalized by it, you know. But like we try to, like, there's such a shame around that kind of shit where it's like, or even to go back to weight loss, if I would have actually, when I first was 230 pounds, if I would have admitted to first myself and other people that I was fucking miserable, I would have helped a lot more people by trying to pretend that like I wasn't.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. There's a saying in AA, I think, where they say you're only as sick as your secrets.
Yeah. What do you think that means?
Like, secrets make you literally sick. And I think when you're in the program, you obviously have a lot of secrets. There's a lot of shame. And once you start breaking that barrier and telling your secrets to your mentor, to your other people, or whatever, in any capacity in life, it's liberating.
100%.
It's liberating.
And trying to avoid, I think it's like with anxiety, when you try, like if you feel an anxiety attack like coming on, by trying to like dull that down, it actually makes it worse because you don't want to deal with the shame of like having one. Whereas like if you were to just like let it out, you'd get through it so much faster.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
Same thing. That's good.
It was great. Well, thank you.
Duh. This is just fun.
Cheers.
Cheers. I love ya.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.